Well, hello and welcome to Trick or Treat. My name is Mike Mayone. I am your host, and we have a fun show planned for you today. We have all the way from New Jersey, David Corsaro. He's my guest today. Hey, I want to start off by telling you some good news. The Parlor of Mystery, the theater we have our little shows in once a month in Lindenhurst at the South Shore Theater Experience, is going to be open again real soon. May 23rd will be our first show, and we're all thrilled. And all the guys who put the theater together, that's Joe Silke and TJ Tanner and Terry Perrette, Ted Pleasy, and myself, are going to perform that night. Now, we're all pretty rusty because we've all been doing little Zoom shows and or not. So it should be a fun show. I'm sure we're gonna have lots of laughs. Hey, here's the poster, so you can take down the information if you like. There it is, right there. They're back, and it's Sunday, May 23rd at 7 p.m. and that will be in the new configured theater. So we hope you show up. Hey, we're going to start the show as we start the show every week with this.
Fact or fake news, fact or fake news, fact or fake news.
Yes, well, it's time for fact or fake news. We have a statement, and you decide if it's fact or fake news. Dave Vernon, people pronounce it differently. The professor, also known as, was a Canadian magician. His sleight of hand technique and knowledge, particularly with cards, garnered him respect among fellow magicians. He was a mentor to other magicians. His real name was David Verna. Is that fact or fake news? If you know, well, type your answer, fact or fake news, into the comments, and you may be a winner. And hey, winners get this super medal. Huh? It's worth a try. Super medal. Well, it's time now for a little magic short. We do magic shorts every week, and that's one of the things I like most about our show. Every week we get to look at and I get to share with you a really fine piece of magic. This week, you're gonna like this. It's from Sergio Starman. Here we go, Sergio Starman. Well, that was Sergio Starman, Mago Starman, and if you want to see more Sergio Starman, well, go to his website or his Facebook. Friend him on Facebook because he posts some great little videos from time to time. And they're all great. If you go to his website and you look at some of the videos, or his YouTube, and you go there and look at some of the videos, the ones that aren't silent to music are all in Italian, so that may be a little disconcerting. But he's great. You're gonna love him. And I want to say hello to lots of. By the way, if you're just tuning in, David Corsaro is my guest, and he'll be coming up in a few minutes. And we have some of David's friends and family watching today. I'll say hello to John in Philly, and Mark Zachariah in New Jersey, and Arlene. And well, if you're here, well, say hello. And say hello and get ready to ask a question to David when it's when he comes up. In the meantime, before he comes, I like to cruise the internet. And my wife says I spend way too much time online. And when I cruise the internet, I look for things that I think will be particularly interesting to my audience. So today we're going to look at something that's important to everybody, and that's their toilet. So we're going to look at the more unique toilets, and as you can see, this is one that I'm not quite sure what they had in mind when they set this up. I mean, I guess it does the job, more or less. And the paper, I don't know, is that, do you add your own? Do you put new layers on? Do you well, who knows? That is an intriguing design. Here's another one. This one focuses the extraction in a much better way, I suppose, and looks like it has a much more comfortable seat. This one's just a scary one. I don't think I would want to use that one. Hey, this is an interesting idea here. Yeah, I guess, there is the danger sometimes that you sit and there is no toilet paper. In this case, you would know right off if you have toilet paper there. I'm not sure I like it there, but there it is. Now, some people, togetherness is an important thing to people. Here you can go right next to your friend or your family, I guess. This is for lovers. Look at that. You can go into the heart-shaped tub and then take a heart-shaped dump. Strange. Oh, this must be for conjoined twins, this one. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's a crazy one. Hey, give mom credit here. She's a smart one, right? If you pee on the seat, I will scrub it with your toothbrush. Ooh, she's a shrewd one, isn't she? Okay, that's just nasty. I mean, the first one on the second one on the left, I like the fact that she has to, you wouldn't use that one because she has to adjust her glasses to see. Hey, okay, I'm sorry. It's political, but it is clever. Well, for the music lover. Now, here's a real throne, right? Look at that. With looks like that's bears' heads or lions' heads on the end. This must have come from Mr. Trump's house, I think. Oh, here's a real throne. Look at that. You have to actually climb up to this one. That's unusual. Oh, let's look at that. I think this one is in Pisa, right? It's the Leaning Toilet of Pisa. Yeah, that's it. You got to hand it to the Japanese. This is a very clever design with aquariums. How clever. Yep. From Chuck E. Cheese, maybe? I don't know. This is a ploy here. He doesn't want anybody to use his toilet, so he has made this backed up design on it. Very clever, very clever. Not sure how you're supposed to use this one. Yeah. That is a peculiar one. Okay, there's a little masochism in everyone, I guess, in there. That is really for the. But this is a comfy one. That's much more comfortable, so you can lounge here, maybe watch a little TV. Yeah, some people like to spend a little more time than others on their toilet, and this one you can spend an awful lot of time on. Okay, you wouldn't catch me using this. I just pee my pants before I use that thing. Look at that. Yikes. Another for the music lover. Yeah, that is a clever design. Hey, and this is for the workaholic, the one who just can't get away from the office. He's got everything he needs there, the computer, the phone, the fax machine. He's all set to work. He's not going to miss a moment. That's dedication. That's dedication. So there you go. That's some nonsense from the internet. You can always find great nonsense on the internet. And I find some for you every week. So tune in next week. You never know what I'm going to come up with. And every week, I like to challenge myself to do a little piece of magic. Sometimes it's a little bit short, and sometimes it's a little bit longer. Tonight's is about maybe 2.5 minutes, and I had a lot of fun doing it. When I was a young man, I was very adventurous, and I used to travel to South America a lot. On one such occasion, I met a shaman who claimed that under the influence of a certain herb, all of the orifices of one's head were connected. And one afternoon, he demonstrated that. I'd like to recreate that demonstration for you now. We were in the heart of the jungle. The shaman had a little case, and inside the case were beans. He spilled out 4 beans. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then he proceeded to take one bean, put it in his mouth, and get it wet with saliva. When he thought it was slippery enough, he took the bean and he put it into his ear, leaving him with 3 beans in his hand. He took a second bean and he put it in his mouth to get it wet with saliva. When it was good and slippery, he took it out and he put it into his eye. Leaving him with 2 beans. He took the third bean, he put it in his mouth to get it wet with saliva. When that was good and slippery, he took it and he put it into his nose, leaving him with but 1 bean, which he took and swallowed. Then, after a short while, he began to gyrate wildly. He started to bang on his head. He pushed his finger deep into his ear until finally 1 bean appeared on the tip of his tongue. He rubbed his eye, patted it until a second bean appeared on the tip of his tongue. He began to snort heavily. Until a third bean appeared on the tip of his tongue. And then finally he started to gag. Until finally a 4th bean appeared on the tip of his tongue. He had done it. It's a good demonstration, but it gives you such a headache. Oof. Well, there you go. Beans from orifices. It's a lot of fun to do. Maybe not so much fun to look at, but I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. Hey, it's finally time for me to introduce our guest tonight. So we'll do it with a little bit of video.
Is one part of my hand. The one part you didn't have, where you get hearts.
Well, welcome, David Corsaro, to Trick or Treat. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, buddy. It's not often I get introduced after a segment on toilets and things coming out of orifices, but you know what? First time for everything.
I should have warned you. How are you tonight?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. Excellent, thank you. Hey, I know you've been busy throughout this pandemic by doing a fair number of shows on the internet, and I know that you've been doing something on Monday Night Magic. Did you performed last night? Yes.
I wasn't performing last night, but prior to that, I did 20 something episodes in a row,
Wow.
hosting Monday Night Magic live online.
And wonderful. That's wonderful. It's when did they start? I guess I know that they were dark, like our little theater was dark for a while, and then finally they decided to do something online. That's great. That's great.
Yeah. I think they started in like November, and I mean, every single week, a whole new show, two performers plus the MC, me, little interview segment with all the performers. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. It's great. A number of your friends showed up tonight. John Costello is here. Mark is here, and Arlene D'Amico, Big Mama, and Poppy are watching. Are they, it,
Those are my in-laws. Yeah, they're the
That's,
best.
well, that's nice of them to say hello. That's nice of them to say hello. Hey, I want to look at some pictures with you, and I looked at them already. Obviously, I put them in the little presentation here, and
Okay.
I'm sure that there are some stories that go along with this. This first one goes way back. I guess that's a young David and maybe sister. Is that right?
That, that's my younger sister, Donna. And thank God I kind of grew into the size of my head back then. Um, I don't know how. I must have the strongest neck muscles in the world to hold that up. But yeah, that's my awesome little sister, Donna.
That's great. And were you doing magic back then? I mean, did you start back
No,
then?
I didn't really start until I was about 15, 16 years old. My father was a science teacher at our local high school, and he used to try to incorporate some unique ways of teaching science to his students. And during one particular lesson, he thought to himself, this is a little like magic. Maybe I could do something. So he signed up for like a little night class in magic, um, and learned a few tricks that way. And he sort of had this little trunk in our basement, and that's where all of the magic was. But he kind of did it for a year or two, just in the classroom setting or for a couple friends, and that was it. And when I was maybe 15, 16 years old, I found this little trunk in our basement, opened it up, and there was all this incredible magic. And that's when the bug bit me.
Wow. What did you say he taught? He taught
He taught
science?
science. He taught
Science.
biology, anatomy, and
Uh-huh.
physiology. So he just, he liked having little ways to kind of incorporate something fun into his lessons.
Sure. Sometimes, it's just what you need is a little break from the, the facts
Yeah.
of education. Yeah. My daughter is a teacher, so I know that she's always looking for something to make classroom a little more interesting. Now,
Yeah.
this must be you already must be 16 because obviously you're into magic at this point, and you get to take a picture with Jeff McBride. That's terrific.
So what's funny is Jeff used to have a practice studio in Goshen, New York. And in high school, I took classes in TV science, being able to, just put on a local like TV show. And they were going to interview him for a local spot. And the production studio said to me, "Oh, well, we know you're into magic. We're going to see this magician. Come tag along." So that's when I first got to meet Jeff. I hung out with him in his practice studio for a while, and he was the first sort of real name in magic that I ever got to meet.
Well, that's quite a name to meet that early on. He's not up in Goshen anymore. Now he's out in
No,
Las Vegas, I guess, right?
he's out in Las Vegas, yeah. But this is like just when he was really starting to make a name for himself and really break. And it was just cool to watch the way he sort of methodically went about his practice time.
Yes. And here's another picture with another, and this one looks like it has your sister in it as well. Let's take a look at this one. This is little sister again.
Yeah, that's Donna again, and that's me with Lance Burton. And actually, the funny part about that story that picture that's when he was back at the Hacienda Hotel. Remember, like way before he was at the Hacienda
Okay.
before everything else, before the Monte Carlo. And I went up to him at the end of his show, and I'm in magic a year. I don't really know how to interact with other magicians yet. And I handed him my business card. Hey, I'm a magician. And he goes, oh, really? He goes, you know what? Hang out over here for a minute. And he finishes signing autographs for everybody. And then he goes, come on, I'll show you around the theater a little bit.
Oh,
So
wow.
he brings me around the theater. He's showing me backstage, all this cool stuff. And then he gets me like a drink, and we're sitting down at this table, and Johnny Thompson walks over, and him and Johnny were working on his next special. His first special, I think it was, or first or second special.
Wow.
So it was insane that he had no idea who I was. He had no idea what kind of experience I had, nothing, and just invited me to kind of hang out during this production meeting of a TV special. It was phenomenal.
At that point, did you know who Johnny Thompson was?
Not a clue.
Not a clue.
Not a clue. I mean, if I had known the sort of person that I was, the presence I was around, it would have been mind-boggling. Yeah. And the funny thing is that I've only met Lance once or twice since then, but about a year and a half ago, I told him that story. And
oh, yes,
like,
did you?
oh yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad. But it was just so cool to have that level of sharing in the magic community that he sort of brought me backstage in that area to meet Johnny and to hang out.
They call it a brotherhood, and in fact, it is. I mean, it's wonderful how magicians are like that, and you see it so often, but no place more than right here. And these are pictures. These are pictures from the 4F convention, and we have a let's see if we have recognize a few faces in there.
Well, I mean, the 4F convention is, Fector's is for me, it was always the end all be all. It was always that convention I read about where it was invite only, the best in the world. And up in the upper right-hand quadrant there, you see that's me and Mayor Yedid and Herb Zarrow. And Mayor and Herb were my sponsors for the convention. So not only was I going to a convention that was nothing but the best of the best, but I was sponsored by just two of the all-time greats. So no pressure.
Well, you got invited back, so
I got invited back. Yeah.
You must have done okay. How many years ago would you say that was?
That was 13.
13 years. We've been going there 13 years, except for last year and this year. No convention last year or this year.
Yeah. That was, you had that little trivia thing at the beginning there, and this is me dressed up like Vernon, Di Vernon, with two of my best friends there, Will Fern and Mark Zakaria.
And Mark is watching,
yeah, Mark's watching. I just got to go on stage as Vernon and kind of roast everybody, and that was a lot of fun.
That was great. I mean, I guess nobody except the few of you who were in on the gag knew you were going to do that, and it just made for a great time, and you did it.
Yeah,
you did a pretty good job too.
If I remember correctly, I don't remember if Mark and Will knew, but in the previous picture you put up there,
let's go back.
Yeah, so right there in the center on the top, that's Steve Bargotzi and Rick Merrill, who I've been lucky enough to sort of write comedy with for the last 5, 6, 7 years up there. Obviously, Steve's son, Nate Bargotzi, is one of the hottest, best comedian stand-up comics of the day, and Rick is phenomenally funny. So I think those were the only two. I think they were the only two that knew, because I ran my script by them. And I said, guys, what do you think? And they kind of gave me some ideas and had me sort of reorder some stuff a little bit. So I think they were the only ones who knew the jokes I was going to do.
Oh, it was great fun, and it was a pretty damn good imitation. It was great. By the way, for people who haven't been to 4F but have heard about it, you might not have heard that Rick and Steve do the closing night, and boy, what a crazy show they put together for us every year. It's great. And here is a picture, and I did something fun about this with this picture because it's going to just morph into, I hope. I
Ooh,
was that the picture that was used as the
that's pretty cool. That
was
was very cool.
was that the
Yeah,
model?
you know what? I guess it probably was just
Yeah.
based off of the cartoon image there. Yeah, that's the cartoon image they get you when you do it. They give you when you do a Penguin Live lecture,
Yeah.
which was also just insane to me that I was asked to teach, my material to other magicians and all the guys out there, Sean and Brent and Nick and everybody are awesome and they do a phenomenal job.
Yeah. When did you do that? How long ago?
2016-ish, maybe.
2016. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's
And
great.
I mean, the response to it has been incredible. I mean, I if I can sort of drop the humble brag for a second,
Well, oh,
it's
please
my
do.
my lecture on Penguin is literally tied for the highest rated lecture they have. I think there's like 27 reviews and they're all 5 out of 5 or so 5 out of 5 stars. So I mean, even now I get emails once a month from somebody who just says, "Hey, just ran across this, loved it. I have questions, I have ideas. Can you help me out?" So I mean, it's for somebody like me who's not a creator. I'm not the Joe Reinfleisches of the world who could just create, create, create. For me, having people that responsive to what I've put out there has been humbling.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And you get that great little cartoon to put in
You
your
get the cartoon. I got a little plaque of it up there, and yeah, I'm very, very proud of that. I really am.
And you should be. That's an honor. Now we were talking about this before we started. This is a great little theater up in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun. Yeah.
Yep, and that's at the Mohegan Sun Casino. Jim Spinato
Hmm.
runs a great thing up there at Comics, and I've done it 3 times so far. And my fourth one was supposed to be during COVID. We obviously had to cancel it, so I'll be back there again. I think it's the Sunday before the weekend before Memorial Day weekend.
Uh huh.
I'll be back up there again. Anyone who's in the area, come by. It's at the Mohegan Sun Casino. It's an awesome, awesome theater. A lot of great seats, and it's just a fun, fun event. And Jim's one of the best in the world. He really is.
And he's a very funny guy too. And he usually hosts the show, doesn't he? He hosts the show
Yeah,
and
yeah,
does a set. So and
yeah.
he's hysterical and very talented. So it would be a good show to see you both up there. And that is in the picture. That's Jim in the upper right.
Yep.
That's you and Jim.
Yeah,
And that
and
is
he's got a bit of a dirty mouth. Um, but
yeah, just
that
a bit.
allows him to really get along with me and my friends and family. I mean, my wife loves Jim, and Jim loves my family. I mean, he's constantly just, "How are the kids? How's your wife doing? How's this?" And it's been great.
Well, and he's a super guy. He's a friend on Facebook, and I love chatting with him, and I can't wait to go back there myself. It's a great place. It's a great venue too, and it's not a bad
It is.
seat. So
It
it's a
really is.
it's a great place to work. They have a little green room. It's really nice. It's really nice. Now, who are these young people?
That's my younger brother and sister. No, that is my parents. That is Louis and Barbara Corsaro. Um, they're the ones they've supported me, all throughout the years that I've done magic. They've been some of my biggest, advocates and fans. And that's like I said, it's my father who first sort of showed me those first couple of tricks. And they're two of the best. I wouldn't be even remotely close to what I am today without them.
Yeah. As a school teacher, did he retire like in his late 50s or early 60s, or did he continue on? Because a lot of school teachers, certainly here in New York, sort of, if they have enough time, and they'll retire a little bit on the early side.
Yeah, I
Did
think he
he
was in
stay?
his late, might have been in his late 50s. I can't I
Okay.
can't quote
Yeah.
that, but he retired. He was a teacher and then became a supervisor of science for the whole district, and
Oh,
then
okay.
and then he retired. And my mother was a school teacher for many, many years as well. And now Both of them are very heavily involved with Lions International, which helps blind and visually impaired people. So I mean, even after they stopped working, they're working their butts off for their community, which is very
Now,
admirable.
I saw on your Facebook, no, on your website, that you participate in a lot of charitable functions as well. How did you get connected with the different charities, and what charities are you working with?
So yeah, the biggest one right now is the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. My son Matthew has type 1 diabetes, so that obviously became on the forefront of sort of my mind and mine and my wife's mind at the time. But also I've done a ton of magic work for Lions International. I've done stuff for Wounded Warriors. I've done stuff for Habitat for Humanity. In fact, during one of the Wounded Warriors shows that I did, this guy came up to me and said, oh, wow, I used to do magic a long time ago before I was in the military, and then I got hurt, and now I really can't move my hands as much as I'd like to, but man, do I miss doing magic. And I said, let's get you back in the game. And
Really?
I met up with him a few times, and I taught him a bunch of magic, and I would exchange, notes with him, try this trick, learn this one, blah, blah, blah. And it was just, it's satisfying, but at the same time, I'm so lucky to have found magic, that any chance that I have to give back with magic, I'm going to take that opportunity.
Yeah, you were talking about your penguin lecture. Is it the same lecture is it pretty much the same lecture that you do live when you lecture live, or did you have to craft something special for penguin?
Close, pretty close. When I lecture live, I can get a little bit more nuanced on some things. Also, the thing that I did a lot of at the end of that penguin lecture was I talked about marketing. So I do a lot of marketing work for magicians. I work at a marketing agency as my real job, but I also consult with a lot of magicians. I wrote a column for MUM magazine for 3 years, all about marketing. So in the penguin lecture, I went and talked a lot about tips and suggestions people can use. But in my opinion, the best way to help out with marketing is to get very personal with it and one-on-one. So when I lecture live, I can take questions and I can get much more detailed on how each specific person can create a marketing plan to best sort of build their business.
Marketing has taken has moved and changed in a big way in the last few years. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gosh, I remember when you would actually mail things in the mail to people, and you would print brochures, and
Yeah.
you'd send them out with direct
Direct
response
mail.
letters.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, have things changed now with Instagram and Twitter and obviously Facebook and websites. It's pretty hard to keep up with that stuff.
It is, but at the same time, everyone's trying to keep up with that stuff. So you're not necessarily at a competitive disadvantage if you're sort of always thinking and evolving and trying to use sort of incremental lifts to help make your business stronger.
Yeah. Now, I didn't know that you had another job. I thought you were full-time magic, and that was it. So you work for a marketing company as well.
Yeah. So I spent it's about 10, 11 years with one company, and now I'm at about 13 or so years with the second company. And I deal a lot with primary market research. I help. My clients have been pharmaceuticals, consumer packaged goods, media companies, financial service companies, insurance, all different ways and all different sort of challenges that they'll bring. So whether it is launching a new product or keeping an eye on their advertising awareness or trying to increase retention among current customers or bring in new customers or whatever it is, each company sort of brings a unique challenge to my company, and then we try to figure out how to solve it.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that you said it was your real job.
Well, I always joke, as my in-laws are watching right now, that whenever when I started dating my wife and then got engaged, I always know that when somebody would say to my father-in-law, what does your future son-in-law do? He would say, well, he's a magician, but he's got a real job.
Yeah, okay. Who are these guys?
That's the crew. That's some of my best friends in the world right there, most of which are sort of my high school friends. Those are the guys that I can go to at any given time. Some of the funniest guys in the world. I think a lot of my sense of humor comes from just the level of humor that those guys can bring to the table anytime we're together. Some of my earliest fans, when I was first kind of getting into magic, the guys who were literally there and watched me do my first couple card tricks. So, I'm truly nothing without the guys in that picture.
Yeah. Did any of them get the magic bug as well, or were you unique in that group in that way?
No, I was unique in the group in that respect. The guy all the way on the left, Dylan Clark, he's a musician. He's in a phenomenal rock band called the Milwaukees. But I think the real key here is like everybody there is so funny that when we get together, it's impossible to not kind of get a roll on. And I know very often if I'm trying to think of ideas or jokes and stuff to incorporate, I'll hang out with these guys for a while and it just gets my creative mind rolling and I immediately start coming out with funnier stuff.
Well, that's great to have a source of stimuli there.
Yeah, those are the best. And that's
I bet some of the same guys are here, I'm sure.
A couple of them. Yeah, that's my wedding party. My wife and I, when we got married in 2006, that's the wedding party right there. That's my Reservoir Dogs picture, as I always call it. We're just taking over the streets.
That's a good movie. And there's your lovely bride.
There she is. Yep, that's my lovely bride. That's Lauren. Lauren and I were actually set up on a blind date. We had one of the guys from the previous picture sort of knew her and knew me and said, I think you guys should get together. And purposely had this kind of party one night just so the two of us could meet. And we went out on our first date. And I always tell people it sounds cheesy, but we were at dinner. And before the dinner was over, I knew I was marrying her. There was no question in my mind.
That's pretty strong.
It is. It was eerie. I remember just sitting there, not thinking, boy, I really like this girl. I hope she likes me. It wasn't that. It was, okay, this is it. I found her.
How old were you at the time?
I met her in 2003, so I was 27-ish.
Oh, okay, 27. That's kind of, yeah.
And
how did she feel? I guess I guess you grew on her. Did you ever ask her if she felt the same way so soon?
And she said not as quick as me, but soon. And what's funny is that when we were hanging out that night, I said something like, I'm not sure if Mike told you, but I'm also a magician. And she jokes now that she said to herself, oh, this was going so well. And I'll tell you really quickly, Mike, one of my favorite stories is that, so that was, we started dating in September, and December, I went over her house for this big Christmas party with all of her extended family. And everybody kept saying to me, oh boy, you haven't met her Uncle Donnie yet, have you? No, I haven't met Uncle Donnie. Oh boy, wait till you meet Uncle Donnie. And Uncle Donnie was a cop from Long Island. And, he was an intimidating guy.
Yeah. Okay.
And he puts his arm around me when he meets me. And he points to Lauren and he says to me, you see that girl? That's my niece. You be good to my niece. And I said, yes, sir. So later that night, her mother, Arlene, said to me, well, Dave, you should do a little magic for everybody. So I start doing magic, and Uncle Donnie's sitting across from me, and I do one trick, and Uncle Donnie goes, you could do whatever you want to my niece. So magic has definitely opened some doors for me.
Yeah, interesting. We have This is mom and dad again. And now you
Mom,
said this
dad,
was
and
your
Donna.
little
Yeah, that's the
sister?
family.
You said your little sister. Okay, you don't have
Yeah, it's
another
my
sister.
younger sister, Donna.
Okay, right. Okay, you have just the one sister.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And where is this? It looks like it's a nice place.
Yeah, we did like a little family photo shoot last year. My family, my sister's family, and then the combined sort of the Corsaros that you see here.
Uh-huh.
And I'm extremely lucky. Whether it is my parents and my sister or my brother-in-law, whether it is my Aunt Claudia, my cousins, my Uncle Paul, Van Duzer family, my in-laws, my sister-in-law. I'm incredibly lucky that the people around me are just the best, pure, loving people in the world. So there's no doubt that any element of success, if you want to call it that I've had in my life is 100% attributed to the friends and family that I have around me.
They make a lot. And oh, this is the boys. Let's take a look at the boys.
Let's see the boys. There they are. That's Matthew on the left and Daniel on the right. That's my world. That's
Is this a recent picture? Is this about what they look
yeah,
like now? Okay, and how
yeah.
old are they?
They just turned 11.
Oh,
They
they're
just turned
twins.
11. That picture was taken probably 10 or so,
Uh-huh.
when they were 10. But it's funny. They're the best. They make me laugh incredibly hard. No real interest yet in picking up magic, which I'm
Okay.
okay with. I
Uh-huh.
understand. But they do enjoy watching it. And I
Well,
think what
11.
they enjoy more than that is
Uh-huh.
they like the fact that their friends like it.
Did you go and do shows at all of their birthday parties at school?
Not the birthday parties, but I've definitely done stuff at their school.
Uh-huh.
Their teachers love the fact that they can bring in Matthew and Daniel's daddy to do a little magic. I can remember actually fairly recently, my kids were in the other room playing video games on the headset with their friends. And I said to them, all right, listen, daddy's got to go do a Zoom show in the other room. So you have to be quiet. And Daniel says to his friends, okay, guys, I got to be a little quiet. My daddy's doing a magic show in the other room. And his friend said, his friend said to him, go watch the magic show. What are you doing? So it's just really cool that their friends get so into it. And I think my kids like that. Yeah, it's me. They're upstairs watching right now.
And I have to say, when my girls, who are 30 now, I didn't realize you had twins.
Yeah.
I'm sure we must have talked about this in the past, but I forget things. My kids, it was the greatest joy to go to their school and do shows for their class. And it's so funny because I guess I did a suspension, a chair suspension.
Chair suspension.
Yeah, back a million years ago. And, to this day, oh my gosh, these are 30-year-old women now who are in their class. They'll talk about those magic shows they saw when I floated my daughter. and so it's amazing how people remember things. But it's great fun to think back at those. I'll remember those days.
Yeah.
Forever. Yeah.
I mean, obviously when I'm doing shows for their third grade class, I'm obviously doing kids magic.
Yeah.
And I remember the principal asked me if I would come back and do like the teacher appreciation lunch. So it was just for the teachers.
For the teachers.
So obviously in that case, I did mentalism and I did some stuff like that. And I just remember the look on their faces like, wait a minute, I thought you just did cheesy magic. What is this? And it was a whole different sort of experience. So
now talk about that. I know you're a very competent close-up magician. Obviously, in the 4F, you have to be a close-up magician, and you've worked at the Parlor of Mystery, so I know you do parlor magic, and you've hosted the stage at Monday Night Magic. Those are all. I guess I kind of see those as adult. For the most part, venues. Do you do kids shows? Is that part of your,
not too much anymore. I, when I was first kind of getting into magic, even let's call it the first 12 years, I was really dabbling in all different areas. I was doing kids shows. I was doing restaurants at some point. At one point, I think I had like 6 different restaurants a month that I was working.
Oh, wow.
I've traveled doing magic comedy clubs and convention centers and trade show magic. So I was kind of dabbling in everything. I think a lot of it was sort of me trying to determine who I was and as a performer and what areas I like the best. So now I don't do a lot of kid stuff anymore. I'll do it for my friends and family, for their kids. But now it's mostly that close up and stage, that a close up and parlor that I really find best. I almost sometimes don't want to do a show for 400. I would rather do a show for 4 or 40 than for 400, just
Sure.
because I really like that sort of personal interaction that I can use.
Absolutely. I can completely understand that. Um,
Yeah.
here's another picture that I think I might have morphed this one as well. Let's see if I
So
did.
what? What'd you do, Mike?
Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. All right. So what an honor being on the cover of MUM. For people who don't know, MUM is the monthly periodical put out by the Society of American Magicians, and not anybody gets their picture on the cover, and a beautiful 4-page article about them inside. Um, and I was looking at the byline. It's by Christian Painter, who is an absolutely fabulous magician, mentalist, I guess more so nowadays than anything else, with his wife Catalina, and it must have been a great honor for you to
It,
be there as well.
yeah, it really was. When he came up to me and said, "Hey, listen, I want to write this article about you," my mouth hit the floor. I was absolutely blown away by it. If you've never seen, I don't know if have you ever seen their show out in Indianapolis?
You know, the only time I saw them was, it was, they were just getting together. It was at a SAM convention, and they were, it was one of the acts who were,
Yeah.
doing in the contest. And they really hadn't found their absolutely beautiful rapport at that point. So they were still working on that. So I haven't really seen them. The only time I've gotten to see them, and it is at the 4F convention, and it's just what they do there is just lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a show called Mind Tripping in Indianapolis, which is incredible. I highly recommend it. If you're in Indianapolis, go check that out. But yeah, they asked me if they could write the story, which was blown away by what you saw right there was the cover shot. And then that led to me. Michael Close, who was the editor at the time, asked me if I would write an article, write a column, and that led to 3 years of doing that marketing column. And then I wrote a cover story from a few months ago on Jason and Stacey Allen. And I actually have a few more stories that are going to be coming out in there that I'm writing now, which has also been sort of a new thing for me, is, writing magazine articles and columns and stuff like that. It's been a whole new experience that I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying.
Yeah. Well, it's quite a skill to put together an article. It's not something that comes easy. I know you did. I think you did the notes last time from the last convention we were at
Yep.
together, and it was very impressive because you popped them out pretty quick. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, oh boy, he's got a knack for this. That is quite amazing. I struggle so much when I write something that it's actually scary. And if it wasn't for Grammarly, it would be illegible.
Yeah. Somebody, was it Aaron Sorkin? Somebody, or no. I'm sorry. It was, this is going to kill me. But there was a writer who said, I don't like writing. I like having written. And that's the way I put it, because writing, I get in my head and I go nuts. But when I'm done writing and I have the finished article in front of me, I love it.
Yeah. How long does it take you? Like you said you did a story. How long does it take you to do a story? Because I mean, you're juggling a lot of things. You have your show, you have your job, you have your family, which is you're a real family man, so you're not going to steal time from them. How long does it take you to knock out a story?
It depends.
Hmm.
A lot of times I'll go into a story with a really rough idea of the theme I want. And if I have that, it flows right out of me. I can get it out really quick. Let me back up. I can I can get out 10 pages really quick, and then it takes me a week and a half or a month and a half to drill that down to the 4-page article that I need to submit. Um, if I don't have the theme, like for example, the 4F thing that you were talking about a minute ago, that came out the same weekend that the Avengers Infinity War came out. The same weekend. And I remember thinking superheroes, magic, 4F, magic, perfect. So I was able to write that quickly because I had this nucleus of an idea that I knew would just sort of flow out of me. Whereas other times I'll sit down to write an article and I'll have a deadline. And if I don't have that theme, I just stare at a blank computer screen.
Yeah. It's writing does not come easy to me. But you're right. When you know when you know where you're going to go with it,
Yeah.
it's certainly a lot easier.
Yeah.
Now this is, let me see if I recognize, is this Smoke and Mirrors?
That's Smoke and Mirrors Theater down near Philadelphia. Danny Archer and Marty Martin have the one of the absolute best theaters I've ever performed at when it comes to close-up magic. The seating is just perfect. There's not a bad seat in the place, and it's all just so conducive for great close-up magic. I've done that, I think, 3 times so far, and yeah, it's such a cool theater. And those are also 2 of just the best guys in the world to work for.
Oh yeah. I am in awe of the what they put into that theater. It is just this, the tiered seating that they have in there.
Yeah.
It's not just a step. I mean, you can see the tabletop completely unobstructed from every seat in that house. It's just a great theater to work in,
Yep.
and it's just fun. It's just a fun place to work.
It really is.
This
Oh,
tell me about this one. This is a lecture, right?
so this was in Japan. Um, so through 4F, Paul Critelli, uh, I met Paul, and he said to me, I have a contact in Japan, and I work with him at this magic conference in Japan, and I think you'd be really good for that. So he took some videos of me and sent them to the convention organizer in Japan, who liked what he saw and flew me to Japan in, I guess it was probably 2014. And I got to spend like 8 or 9 days in Japan lecturing, teaching magic, performing magic, freaking signing autographs, taking pictures. Like, it was one of the most bizarre experiences of my life in a good way. I mean, honest to God, it was, my marriage, my kids, and lecturing in Japan. It was like, those are the 3 things for me. It was insane to me that card tricks
Could-
took me to Japan. That somebody paid me money, flew me to Japan, toured me around, set me up, like, the idea that card tricks brought me that, I still can't wrap my head around.
and it was just the one night that you performed there, right?
No, it was maybe 3 to 4 days of
Yeah.
performances,
Okay.
lectures, things like that. I was there with Dennis Beer from Germany,
Oh, he's
also a great
spectacular.
guy. And it's definitely not easy doing a convention with him because he's just so masterful at what he does. But again, like, the whole convention was insane. It was so much fun. A bunch of the guys there took me out to dinner one night and were just introducing me to just the most incredible sushi I've ever had in my life. And it
I
was
bet.
I can't wrap my head around. And several of those guys I'm still friends with. One of them stayed at my house a year and a half ago for a few days. And even that, the idea that I'm good, that I'm really close friends with people in Japan is mind-boggling.
It is mind-boggling, and that's one of the wonderful things about our fraternity, is
Yeah.
that you can be friends with people all around the world. It's just
Yeah.
a wonderful thing. I love this picture. where the your fans have your autographed picture there. I think that's great.
I'm telling you, talk about, but here's the thing. There's that picture where I'm in Japan and signing autographs and taking pictures. And then I come home and my wife's like, that's great. Now you're home now. Garbage has to go out. Kids got to get to bed. Let's go. We got stuff to do. So, I'm big in Japan, but I'm not, not so much in
not at home. Not at home. Not at home. This looks like the crowd from Jersey.
It's part of the Jersey crew. Yeah, that's Mark Zaccaria, Will Fern, and Mark Calabrese, who each one of them have been sort of mentors to me in its own really unique way. Mark is just one of my best friends in magic and somebody I can always bounce ideas off of. Will has been just a phenomenal teacher to me, really showing me how to interact with people and how to be the right person on stage. And Mark Calabrese is somebody who I thought at one point I was teaching him, and then all of a sudden he shot past me like a rocket, and now he's got some of the best hands in the business when it comes to card magic, and I learned something new by watching him every day.
I haven't met Mark. The other two I know and have a great deal of respect for them. They're both fun guys and very, very talented.
Yep. The Monday Night Magic crew.
This is Monday Night Magic, and we were talking a little bit about that. Now I know just about everyone in there. Let's see. Why don't you just tell us who we're looking at? You could start.
So all the way on the left, that's Peter Samuelson.
Right. He's been on our show.
Similarly, I used to read about Peter, and I used to hear about sort of the theatrics that he brought to his magic, and I always thought to myself, boy, it'd be really cool to meet him one day. And now he's an incredible friend who comes over my house all the time, and my wife makes him dinner, and he hangs out, and my friends call him, my kids call him Uncle Peter. It's mind-blowing. The girl is Lexi. She was the stage manager. The taller guy there, that's Todd Robbins, who just is not only an incredible performer, but is one of the best storytellers in the business. That's his son, Finn, who's an actor.
Yes.
Michael Chout is in the middle there, the founding producer of Monday Night Magic, who, has put on just an incredible show for 20-something years. Rocco right there, who ironically, and I only found this out maybe about 2 years ago, Rocco was the guy who taught the class my father went to at that school. So, wrap your head around this. My father goes to a night school when I'm 11 years old, and my father learns a little bit of magic, and the teacher is this guy named Rocco. And now here I am hanging out with Rocco all the time, performing all over the world with Rocco, and I find out he's the guy who taught my father one of the people who taught my father those first few tricks.
Oh, that's crazy. That's just insane.
And the last guy there is Patrick Davis, who's also an incredible New York magician. Just has the best rapport in the world with his audience. Really, really great performer.
These are pictures from the Parlor of Mystery. Did I make one?
Parlor of Mystery. A lot of fun performing at your theater. A lot of fun.
Thank you.
Great audiences who they were there to have a good time and laugh. And I mean, it made it so much easier to perform there when you see how good they are.
Yeah, they are there for fun, and it's great. It is great, and they keep coming back. It's we must be giving them good shows because they keep coming back every month, and they're great. And as soon as we get up and running and get the feel of the place, we're expecting to have you back as well.
I would love that.
Great.
This was the Jersey Boys. This was a show we did in Indianapolis 3 years ago, maybe.
Are they all from New Jersey?
Yes, Kevin Bethay's technically from I think the Philly area, but we'll call him Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody there's a Jersey boy. You got Rocco, Mayor Yedid, Joe Reinfleisch, Kevin Bethay in the middle there, me and Will Fern, and we did this huge show for I don't know how many people were there, 500, 600 people.
This was a SAM convention, yeah?
Yeah. And Will and I actually had this idea. So when the show was over, we all walk out on stage and we say, no, the show's not over yet. Because in Jersey, we're going to celebrate the way we celebrate in New Jersey. And we brought out pizza for everybody in the audience. And we just had all these pizzas delivered. And people just started swarming the theater, handing out pizza. And it was so much fun. And we actually won an award for that show. We won the Producers Award that year.
Oh, did you?
Which was an honor. But the whole show was incredible. I mean, you saw that list. Those are some of the most talented magicians you're ever going to meet. And we were all on one stage together. So it was an honor for me to call myself part of that crew.
Okay. I have but one more picture that we're going to share. And I have no idea what is this picture is all about. So you're going to have to explain.
So, oh my God, I realize he's not in that picture. So there's a gentleman missing from this picture named Dennis McSweeney.
Maybe he took the picture.
No, he didn't take the picture. But Dennis started this little group in New Jersey with Joe Reinfleisch, where he would invite certain magicians to just hang out in session one night it was a week. One night a week, we would get together, and there was like this rule. You had to be 100% honest. So if somebody does a trick and the trick's not good, you don't humor him and say yes. You go, you know what? I didn't like it. And let's talk about why. And that group sort of grew bigger and bigger. And it sort of really pushed our abilities to get better and get more creative. So what you see here is there's Peter Samuelson, me. In the back is Mark Calabrese and Mike Kirshner. In the front is Bill Schmelk, who's one of a phenomenal illusion builder. Will Fern. In the back is Jason Messina, Mark Zaccaria. The bald gentleman there, that's Sean Dillon, who ironically was one of my first teachers when I went to Tannen's magic camp. He was one of my close-up teachers who him and I reconnected a few years later. That's John Henderson. So this group would get together once a week, once a month. This one was taken in my house, and we would just get together for 6-7 hours a night, just doing magic. My wife would make pizza for everybody. And I mean, it's what propelled me to sort of think creatively. And, we call ourselves the Tuesday Night Crew because that's when we would meet. And
do you guys still get together? Well, I guess you couldn't really get together during the pandemic. Yeah, during the pandemic, you really couldn't get together.
But prior to that, we would. And it's such a great crew because we get together and it's just the brainstorming and creativity that comes out of it is incredible. And there's a couple of guys who are not in that picture who are still part of it, like, Joe Reinfleisch and a couple other guys. And, that crew has really sort of given me the knowledge and the discipline and the experience that I need for whatever I've done in my career.
Well, that is a special kind of group. You guys didn't try to get together on Zoom or anything?
We did once or twice, but it's not
the same. Yeah.
It's not the same. Part of it is also the camaraderie. We would bust each other's chops and, crack jokes and stuff like that. And, there's other guys, Mayor Yedid would come by once in a while and hang out once in a while. And, the connections that I've made in magic, the networking that I've done with groups like that, have also really, helped me. The Eric DeCamps or the Mark D'Souza or the Mike Miller, these guys have not only been good friends, but have really done a lot to introduce me to the right people over the years and help me to kind of grow in what I'm doing.
Sure. That's a special kind of club. There's a club on Long Island that's similar to that. They call it the Close-Up Entertainers, I think they call it. And it sort of has that same kind of working. You gotta show something, and you got to be ready to hear the comments. And it just makes all of your presentations better.
It really does.
We went over as I usually do, so I'm going to let you go. But the show is called Trick or Treat for a very important reason, because I expect my my guests to deliver a treat or do a trick. So what's it going to be?
I'm going to pick trick. Is that okay?
That's okay. Very good. Right. I was hoping. So I'm going to give you the full screen so you can have so everyone can see.
So, but you can still talk, right?
Yes, I am not muted, so you can hear me fine.
So yeah, because I do want you're going to help me out with this one a little bit, if that's okay.
It's perfectly.
You could just use your voice. That's fine. But
Okay.
the one thing I want to make sure everybody who's watching this is very clear about is, Mike, we have not set anything up, correct?
Absolutely not.
I have never told you. You have no idea what I'm going to do.
None
I haven't
whatsoever.
told you sort of what to say or what to pick.
Nope.
No, perfect. So we got a little envelope here, a little question mark right there. What could this possibly be? Inside here, I'm going to put it like right here. Good. We'll leave it right there. Okay. We're going to get back to that in a second. And actually, I'm also going to need those and put this here. Good. So I brought a deck of cards with me. Obviously, every single card is different. Don't want you to think I'm going to have a... Okay. And here's what we're going to do, Mike. I am going to deal these cards down onto the table, and I'm going to deal them down into 2 piles. Okay. Now, notice, as I deal these cards, I can deal them back and forth like this.
Mm-hmm.
I can deal a couple in a row. I can deal piles down. I can mix up the cards as I'm dealing them. Doesn't matter. All that matters, Mike, is that I end up with 2 piles of cards. Now, Mike, as you're looking, and forgive me here, but because of the Zoom, I'm going to kind of clarify this. Mike, is this the pile that, as you're looking at the screen, is on your left?
Yes, that's on my left.
Okay, so this is on your left. This is on your right. Yes?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Okay. So, Mike, we're going to get rid of one of these 2 piles. I'm going to take it away. So we're not going to use the pile that you are about to mention. Okay. We're going to get rid of that and use the other one. So, right. Mike, do you want me to get rid of the pile on your left or get rid of the pile on your right?
Get rid of the pile on my right.
This one?
Yeah.
You're sure?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to get rid of that pile. Gone. I'm going to do it once more. I'm going to deal cards back and forth. Maybe a couple in a row here. Maybe just one there and then a bunch here. Back and forth, back and forth. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Now, we're going to use one of these 2 piles, and that will result in a selected card for you. Here's what I mean. We've got, X number of cards here, maybe a little bit more in this pile. So, Mike, do you want to use the top cards of each pile or the bottom cards of each pile? It's up to you. Top cards or bottom cards of each pile?
We'll go with the top.
Top cards.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to use, now which one do you want to use? The card on your left or the card on your right?
Let's go with the card on my right.
This one?
Yeah, why not?
So you want to use this card?
That's the card I want to use.
Okay, now here's what I want to point out. I'm going to show you the card on your left. It was the Queen of Spades.
Okay.
I will give you a chance right now, Mike, to change your mind.
Let's make a deal.
Okay? You know the card we're not going to use, the Queen of Spades. But I will give you an opportunity because you know we're going to use this one.
Uh-huh.
But I will give you a chance to change your mind and to pick the Queen of Spades. We'll get rid of all the other ones. So this is your chance, Mike. Do you want to stick with the Queen? Do you want to stick with the card you don't know? Or do you want to pick the Queen of Spades?
Wow, that's a tough. You're making it hard, David. I'm gonna stick with the one I don't know.
So you're gonna stick with this one?
Yes.
You're not picking this one?
No.
So we're gonna get rid of the Queen of Spades?
Yes.
Last chance.
Go for it.
So this is the card you selected.
It is the what is that? 9 of Hearts.
9 of Hearts. Yes?
Yeah.
That's
the 9 of Hearts.
So over here, if you recall, I had an envelope with a fun little design on it there.
Mm-hmm.
And inside this envelope is 1 card.
No way. That's freaking impossible, David. Holy cow.
Thank you
Wow.
very much.
That is wonderful. Oh,
you.
my goodness gracious. I'm going to
Well,
be
Mike, thank you
scratching
so
my
much.
head
This has been a lot of
all
fun.
night.
All night.
Well, David,
Hopefully the trick was better than the treat.
oh, that was a great trick. It was a treat. It was a treat. Well, thank you so much for being my guest, David, tonight.
Thank you.
It was great fun for me. It was actually wonderful. We run into each other all the time at the convention, and we really don't get that much chance to sit down and talk because you're so busy. Getting ready for. I know you in order to write those jokes that Stephen and what was it and Rick use. You have to have your eyes open for everything throughout the whole convention. So thank you very much for spending some time with me. I really enjoyed it. And
it's my pleasure, and I appreciate you inviting me on. This was a lot of fun, and thank you very much.
Oh, thank you again. And John says thank you as well. And
John
Regina joined
some of those
us.
pictures that you saw from the smoke and mirrors are John's handiwork. He's one of the best photographers in the business.
He's taken a few of me, and I have to tell you, they are great. I'm just after I saw your promo, I said, boy, I think I got to make a promo. So I started going through some of the pictures in my file, and I said, oh, there's a couple of pictures from John. So he is good. Yeah, he's good. Regina joined us, and she says hello. And hello. Lauren, I guess that's your son, actually. Yeah, it's us. It was the twins. And Mark and Claudia. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I know that David appreciated that you joined us. So, David, I'm going to let you go and stick around because I want to talk to you when we're all done and we say goodnight to everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you, everybody.
As I said, it was our pleasure for sure. There we go. If you want more David Corsaro, you can go to David Corsaro's website. That's right there, davidcorsaro.com. I know if you contact him, he loves to hear from you. Just as he said, he hears from the people who he's lectured for, who watch his Penguin lecture. So do contact him and go to his website or find him on Facebook. He'll love to hear from him. Now, before I say goodnight and tell you who's coming up next time we get together, we have a little unfinished business. We have to determine whether or not we were looking at fact or fake news. And here it is.
Fact or fake news? Fact or fake news?
So, was Di Vernon the professor? Was he a Canadian magician? And was his sleight of hand and knowledge about cards, did that garner him respect among fellow magicians? Was he a mentor to other magicians? Was his real name David Verna, not Vernon? Is that fact or fake news? Well, let's ask someone else from New Jersey.
Story soprano. It's a friggin' fact. A friggin' fact.
Yes, it is a fact. And we had a couple of, John got that right. John Costello got that right. And I think we had a couple of other people. Somebody else got that right. I think, he said it before. He got it right twice. John got it right twice. So there you go. You're going to get that medal. I promise, John. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, I hope you're going to subscribe, and I hope you'll give us a like if you're watching on the stream on Facebook. If you haven't joined the Parlor of Mystery Facebook page, if you're not following us, please do follow us. Find us on the internet, parlorofmystery.com, and next time we get together, which is going to be in 2 weeks on the 13th, we're going to have a young lady who does magic, and she does something very interesting. She works with bubbles. That should be very interesting. No, she's not a dancer, but she does work with bubbles. So her name is Meadow Perry, and that's going to be on the 13th. So until the 13th, I hope you enjoy all the magic that is in your life. So we'll see you next time.